you, but you got me feeling some kind of way. I'm gonna dive right in, I don't care. Give me the word, tell me what to say. I think I know what I want, come on and vibe with me. Don't let it go, I just want you to stay. I think I know what I need, come on, get lost with me. Don't let it go, don't let it go. I don't know what it is about you, but I'm living for every word that you say. You're the fire in my eyes, you're my ecstasy, and I'm not gonna keep my feelings at bay. I think I know what I want, come on and vibe with me. Don't let it go, I just want you to stay. I think I know what I need, come on, get lost with me. Don't let it go, don't let it go. Good morning. Or whatever it is, wherever you are. We got some weird stuff going on here. I feel like I'm going to this just a couple of different rotations. I'll get a better sense of what's going on. So I know these are this is fine. Who's opposite? Aphrodite. And full 180 is fine. And we would normally draw it at a slight angle where we see a little bit of stuff off. So that'd be like a Zeus. Yeah, it's a little bit more off. I think I might probably want to turn icons off. Oop, you're the wrong window. Yeah, so that's kind of weird. That was a pretty wide angle before. Now, if I could set it up to constantly rotate around this view, might be easier to see what's going on. Okay, now that's direct. What's adjacent to you? No, that's just as much, even though it's like 145 degrees off of that.
So we're calculating the endpoints of those arcs and then going to those. I don't know why they're so skewed, though. This almost looks like it could be rotating in the opposite direction, and then 180s are a wash. That's the only thing, yes, it's the only thing we use path from angles for. I certainly don't need that anymore. So one of these... Ooh. We're doing a bunch of rotates here. Okay, well, even regimented position is messed up there. And that does, in fact, look like it could be a straight-up flip. So it's not that. Do we have... No, you don't have a rotation of the graph. But this is affected by the rotation of the graph. Are paths not transformed? Well, no, we have the same problem with SVG. So it has to be the actual point generation. What do we do to you? We get segments. We do shapes with path. Wait, do you need to do flips? Nothing does that here. Well, maybe curve path does. Yeah, that effectively inverts all that stuff. Okay. Do you return a first point? Return end A. Oh. Well, that still looks odd. How did that not affect it at all? I guess it's only the first point. So that's looking like we effectively lost a point and it reduced to a straight line segment. Well, you did straight line, but that was the close. And the rest of these just kind of skipped the entire curve. It's not necessarily worse than it was before. There's that cut again. Oh, actually, this almost looks like it didn't rotate. Come to think of it. What would we do? We've got a focus God. Okay, that's focus. I guess the focus on. We set a rotation and offset. On a center. For a certain view. Default view. Focus on rotation. Focus angle of. Given rotation. Focus position of given chart metrics. Oh, and then the rotation goes into there. Now, I guess I do kind of want to do an animation thing here. Events. So you're a float. So this is rotate. Oh, well, actually, this is going to be a constant. Hello, Rosie Gagan. How's it going? Focus, follow. We don't have Poseidon? Maybe I didn't have a buff with that loaded. Poseidon? With... That might end up being completely too fast. Thank you. Ooh, my preview player died. I was having some trouble on another stream today. I assumed it was them though, because they were in Australia. Might have slept better last night, but I guess I'm doing okay considering. No, this is going to be probably still milliseconds, but it's a floating point. And even that would still be like one row. Well, still be very, very fast. Let's try that. Yeah, I just did the canvas rewrite, and during that process, I noticed that Poseidon, well, that the boundary areas were messed up in both of them. Okay, so focus follow. Not working. Oh? Wait, is this actually... It's working, but backwards. This comes back to that reversed rotation we sometimes run into here. So that means well, no, because we take rotation from... I guess I mostly focus on at the top. Which is a nice, known regimented position, so that might not be as evident there. Yeah, so I keep running into differences between the way different things do rotation. I think I've mostly been following the CAD program. Well, there's the chart vectors rotation and there's focus view. But this comes and like sets my model rotation to that. So I guess I'd have to invert you. Maybe? Now that inverts the rotation, but they're still opposite. So I think I have to sort out some rotation units in general here. Uh... So in the CAD program, we could even just simplify this. Well, I guess we need an arc for it to... Oop. Start angle, end angle. I'm pretty sure it uses this for start point. So its basis is here, and its rotation is counterclockwise. So we ended up using that for a bunch of stuff. Excellent. Not localhost. We need, I guess this would be like a general canvas reference. Arcs might also be relevant here. So this is, yeah, this is not a, I need a reference. Clockwise in radians. Yeah, so I've been having to invert some things there, and then what is SVG rotation like? Oh, this is an animation thing. Hmm. So that's not specifying it. How about SVG angles? Not angels. No, wait. Oh, no. There was a lot more switches for angels. Now this is like a tool. I don't know if it's like SVG coordinates. For an arc. Okay, so they're also they're also showing that it's clockwise. So these are reversed, which means we should really be reversing it. Well, it's a toss-up whether you do clockwise or counterclockwise. Some things support winding to deal with that. I copied some functions for geometrical rotation. What's really wild here is it is perfect. Everything else has been working. I don't think this can be just the Y flip issue. So we're kind of wrong in the X direction as well. Maybe I've kind of been doing like my default rotation is something that wouldn't have made sense if I thought about it more. So sine and cos is what we're using to rotate with. What does that do? And I guess I'd want to do that in screen space to get rid of the coordinate, to take the coordinate translation things out. All right, so shut that down for a little bit. I actually turned off some of my screen space points here. See, zoom, not a big deal. You don't even have geometry. But I never did put a thing in the model to have, hey, show these points. So you are a point relative to the upper corner. Well, let's not even just do offset. Let's do something simple by, we probably don't have, so pi is actually half. So half of that is 90, half of that is 45. Oh, no, I did have this backwards. We wanted to take a point and possibly say rotate by this. Okay, actually 45. Well, it does say it's down. So those operations are also clockwise. And yet I keep having to invert my angles. Okay, so that's you. So when we pass to the chart, what are we passing to the chart for our default, or our default focus view? This is another thing where visibility could be useful. Now, I can't display both of these at once unless I do some offsets. So that's a negative rotation off of, well. Okay, so you're technically 0. And then that would be a counterclockwise rotation to you. Although it feels like we're going around that way. But that's a negative 0.39. So that could alternately be done in the opposite form. Right. Rotating around this way actually rotated you that way. So that is a counterclockwise rotation to show something that was at a positive clockwise rotation. And we're passing this rotation. No, we're not passing it directly through here. We're passing it through chart metrics. Initial metrics is the only thing that uses that. Now that's a Hermes exclusion. We're doing focus angle plus rotation. Focus angle. Then angle divided by 2. There's a negative. I need to sort out what I'm doing here. So we say our chart is rotated at exactly that. Is that right? Rotation equals focus angle of. Well, it's a method of view, filter, get. Okay, yep, just that field. Now you see this is inverting. And while that's probably somewhat true, okay, we'd only use that there. I might want to do this in a positive form and work it out in the view. Oh, but this is also a thing we're passing back to here, so we have to be careful with that. Huh. Negative focus. But these are all positive. Right, times negative angle. And that's just tau and count. That has to be positive. Focus. Oh, so this ends up negative, and then we negate it again. What do we do anything else with these? Okay, you get used in the calculation for that. This gets used in a rotation to get the center. So this is kind of coming down to this is a negative. Oh no, because we record angle. It's focus plus rotation. All right, so regiment position is here. If we start at 0, our geometry rotates in a clockwise direction. We take 0. Oh, this is a positive y. Maybe that's what I want to invert. It's going to mess everything up, most likely. Okay, so that washed out. That didn't. That was very different. We probably took a one step over and then added that step in a kind of a feedback loop. We actually focused on Demeter. So every other one actually lands on the god. All right, so we're getting the same answers here in terms of what we click on to get it a desired angle. And that seems a reasonable answer for you based on what we had before. Focus plus rotation. Actually, if those ended up being opposite sign, will that actually say we're going to make you 0? So would angle this actually be minus then? Hey, Delbagor. Okay. So that's just some internal side flips in here, and we're not doing as many negations of angles. That's returning positive values. We haven't done anything with the way that rotates. I guess it, Since this is minus rotation, that's actually not unreasonable that would go the opposite way, would it? I've done a few things with it for 1 hour, 1 life, where there's the Linux things there, but otherwise I don't use it much. I know I use it to test the Linux build. I think I've done some of the things for the image conversion over there. I run the local server there, which let me get it off my laptop. So that kind of cleaned that up, but I think that we might still have the opposite problem because we're literally doing negative rotation. Yeah. So that's set up to focus specifically when we're trying to focus on that particular spot in the... Oh, no, okay, it is a little bit different. We can focus on them, but we've actually flipped the graph. Why do we do that? So 0, oh, maybe that's a positive. Is this, what kind of coordinate system is this in? And actually, this is probably something that is... No, actually, this is boon charts. This affects both of them right now. Okay, so you are positive down by yourself. Now, this is a thing where I need to do some drawing. So you have a center. Your center is in unit chords? Yeah, looks like unit chords. So I want to know what these numbers are. I did a thing in Canvas. Yeah, I mean, I used to do a lot of stuff on Mac, which has a Unix environment. But then I kind of originally built this computer for gaming, and now I'm doing the game streaming. So that's kind of a factor there. All right, in Canvas, I had a thing to show the origin. Oh, I never got around to putting text on it, which is, the text is something I need now. Actually, yeah, I can see a little circle there. Okay. Do you need to be... Well, no, you're at 0, so I didn't have to do anything to you. The other thing about this is that I applied some of the flips and transforms in some helper functions, which then can get a little bit confusing when we go back. Yeah, so actually, if our rotate is negative rotate, which that worries me a bit. Because we just saw it was clockwise, and we've been, I've probably been building around the CAD coordinate system. It's like, well, I have to pick one. Okay, so winding is wrong. Winding should be rotation invariant. There's D3. Is there a... I mean, I guess the fact we have two systems kind of means there probably isn't a... isn't a preferred answer. They're flip-flopping here. Wait, clockwise rotations are by positive. By who? Also, what's 0? I guess 360 is 0, so they're starting at the top. I don't know why they're doing 180 and negative 90. Oh, the direction of rotation doesn't matter. Okay. So they're saying clockwise is negative, which is what the CAD program uses. Oh. Right, if we're doing a transform, we're moving the coordinate system, which is going to move everything else back, huh? Okay, so this, I mean, not pointed to a direct question. "90-degree angle has rotated counterclockwise from the origin." Now, I don't know if they've defined what this means. You've turned one way, but if to you it looked like the world turned the other. Okay, so what we're frequently dealing with is coordinate system transformations, context.rotate. Now, I guess then the question is, how does context arcs work? Do they kind of mix that up? Or does that then become counterclockwise rotation? That's a full circle. And I see this is clockwise again. Zero is 3 o'clock of a clock. Oh, and you can specify clockwise versus counterclockwise. As an optional parameter, what's the indicates clockwise? So that's not entirely true to say we're rotating the coordinate system either. Well, maybe for Canvas. We haven't really tried to do a raw Canvas operation. Plus, we're being filtered through a third-party library. Oh, if I do this at a transformed point, it's going to transform the coordinates. So this is effectively going to be 0, 0. Hmm. This is shape, so this is a single renderable. And this is one of the problems we run into, is that I'm actually passing. I set up a translate method that is actually doing the opposite thing. So you are yourself a group. All right, well, you sub in for that. Right, yeah, I put you outside the main transform. Ooh. If I want to do these points, they're going to kind of be inside the transform. So I can't just make it a list of points. Okay, well, that would just be a... Oh, yeah, I see the circle there. Okay. How did text work? I don't know if I did any other... You did a lot of font sizing stuff. Ooh, one of these is going to be in the scaled system and one of them isn't. And now you have an actual point. Okay. Well, no, because I still have to draw that. So once we've translated that, although I could translate just the point. And this is to be determined. Oh, you also get a point. Okay, so that is actually 0, 0. From the looks of things. Right, because I was drawing model out offset before. So the text is probably small. Problem is I want to come back and use these for other points. Where's... Oh, you need to be at XY now. Okay, you're on the opposite corner. Okay, so it was it was a line. It was just a line center. This is going to be the canvas package. So align left, right, center, O. This is only that alignment. Oh, text baseline. Okay. Okay, that's the type. Okay, you're pretty close. It's not quite the same offset. Okay, and those, the text size is a little bit different, but those are basically the same. And I did just kind of pick an arbitrary font size here. How does this... Okay, we've got some different decimal points. And that probably reacts differently under scaling. Well, not really. Because it's not in the scaled portion of the graph. Mainly a source folder. Well, there's source, there's public files. We compile into that. This has a bunch of data files too. So we compile everything into one JavaScript file. Gets bootstrapped by an index file, which I usually just put the port stuff in there. Unless it's an environment that doesn't allow you to do inline scripts, then again, you have to do an external file. Elm is in a source folder. Occasionally I have subdirectories when the name spacing makes sense for a module. And generally anything I'm doing with ports has a dedicated module. And muswheels only decode. Console is just for the data conversion program, which is like a whole separate thing that's kind of sharing space. They reuse some files, so I guess that makes sense. Yeah, so a couple of these are modules for that thing. I usually separate the view file. I mean, I guess the author recommends staying with one file as long as you can. I do that because it lets me have view-related messages in a message type and kind of bundle that up and say, okay, the view returns that. And also, I can import, HTML or Elm UI or whatever globally in the view without having those namespaces confused in the main module. I've been doing project name.elm, but you could use a main.elm for everything, so it's always the same. Yeah, so we just import view, and we reference that few enough times that the prefixing doesn't make a big difference. So all the view messages usually come under UI. This goes back to a project I was doing that had like the front end, and it was also doing a bunch of network messages to a back end. So basically the top level program became UI and net with each thing doing its own messages. But I've kind of liked that, that like the view defines the messages it sends. And then we just use that from there, and then view from there is, okay, I know we have more than that. We just looked at several of them. Is mainly on all the message prefixes as we go through the update function. Okay, I did a few things in there for the size. And then other modules. I typically do decoders in separate. Well, this isn't a JSON decoder. Mouse wheel is kind of just a JSON decoder. So if I'm doing like a JSON API thing, I'll put this here. Just once again. Actually, no, you actually did do JSON decoders decode. And the decoders often do just import JSON decode exposing ... and then I've got map and float and string and everything just available in that file, but not generally out in the entire program. So sometimes my modules are just driven by namespace inconvenience, which I'm not sure everybody's a fan of that strategy. Well, yeah, and it's all developed over time. You know, you start off with a simple Elm example, it's one file. I don't remember when I started breaking out views. It might have been on the project where I was doing net and UI, and I wanted to break down those two types of messages. And I was like, that's kind of nice. And then a lot of the decoder examples will use unnamespaced things, so to do that, you kind of have to either import that into your main module or put it into a sub one. Ports, I guess I just kind of like not having the main module be a port module. And those are also tend to be features that I could end up moving between projects. And you put all that port conversion stuff in there, and then you just copy that file and its corresponding JavaScript to the next thing. The JavaScript is a little bit of it's like I just been doing the index file, which actually you might not have very many ports. Okay, so the measure text is actually left over. Log, yeah, log is something I use to get away from debug.log in order to do the compiled builds, which I don't even know if I've set this project up for yet. Oh, excellent. Now, I might have to put some kind of scaling factor into my little text routine here, because text display for stuff on there in a scaled coordinate system is probably not going to work very well. Display gods. Display god. Oh, we had the name. And this is just going to be... Oh, actually, are you just zero? And you see, 0, 0 is not going to be useful here. It tells me where it is, but it doesn't tell me what the god center is. Okay, yeah, we need some scale. Yeah, it's 0, 0. The text size is all borked. Oh, you don't even do the transform to center. Well, I do display God into a group that gets all that stuff. Could I just do another copy of this? Okay, so this is list versus that. We never did put you into any kind of group. Okay, so you all end up there because it's all very, very small numbers. So I probably need to do this at least inside the transform. Did I not list.concat all the lists? Oh, now I don't need it in a group. Okay, so we're back to this. We might have different numbers. We just have to actually display it smaller. What is our sizing factor here? I guess I kind of fudged it with the other size things. Well, we've got a zoom factor. Didn't we have do we have a derived thing for that? A display diameter, maybe. Oh, so what's the display diameter of this then? 24? I don't know if that's going to be the right answer for this. No, I see if I'm going to do like 24 times that. It used to be 1. Oop, not your float. Oh, you have to be an integer, don't you? So we have to do all this funny stuff with fonts. Okay, so the text is still wrong. The point is still wrong. Hmm. So, I mean, this we could probably work out something like that. Okay, so the points are in reasonable spots. They are... No, those could actually possibly use with being slightly more constant size. Yeah, I actually don't see that one anymore either. Actually, that'd be 1 divided by 1, so it's no longer... So, I don't know if that's constant or if that's going to keep on shrinking. Okay, that actually makes it kind of screen constant size. Now, this... What do we do with you? So we had to do like 100 before, and we roughly washed it out with this. Maybe we did a little bit more and washed it out with this. See, this might get you like a 0. Well, it's not as big. Is this actually sufficient? Okay, so you are all displaying in the center. Even though I give you a very small xy. So this must be assuming, either the transform is taking effect, which I don't know if you could tell. Okay, well that's a scale. I can't tell it's doing anything different. Or it's just really, really small numbers, and you're still in... Maybe you have to offset the scale here. Yep, that's it. Okay. All right, so now... Okay, yes. So under this transform, we're all here. Under this transform, we're there. So we're not doing a translate transform that's flipping things. Oh. Which means these might not actually be the coordinates they appear to be. Because I'm not doing any flips here. Well, if that's the case, this is just where some points are. Well, we know Aphrodite's first, right? Or maybe Hermes is first. Yep, Hermes is first. Okay, yes. So that is Aphrodite's point. The number we're putting in there is negative 0.1, 0.25. That is a logical mathematical y is positive up. Canvas, as we can see here, is y positive down. That's the flip side of things. For the current position, the negative 1 is correct, but we don't want it there. This is a negative 0.39 rotation. Is that, if that's a 0, and that's a 0.78 putting you, well, yeah, 3.14, 1.4 something, 0.78. So the magnitude of that feels correct. Both geometry rotate and canvas rotate are clockwise. We're giving it a negative value. So this is a little bit of rotate the object versus rotate the perspective. If we're saying that our view is rotated, are we rotating the chart or are we rotating the camera, so to speak? That's one of the places you get yourself confused. So how's Poseidon doing? Yep, still messed up. All right, the coordinates are coming from Boon chart. Boon chart has been calculating itself in a mathematical coordinate system, which I actually might not correspond to either SVG or Canvas. How about you? That's the origin. This says the center is positive in X and Y. So that's actually how this is bringing stuff in. So display point, if we're going to keep with that, actually needs to do negative y's. All right, and what this was all to determine, and we do Boon chart, we do main ring radius on the y coordinate. We're doing this in a y up, positive y up, and then we're rotating it by angle, which is the focus minus the rotation. And your focus is 0. But this is like model rotation. So that says you're going counterclockwise? Oh. Is this affected by Y flip? Of course, then there's the question, well, this is always rotated the same coordinate. So yes, we are doing 0.39 positive, because it's minus a minus. So maybe actually after having flipped all of this, this is just our, well, let's see, are all of you guys in the right position? No, you're opposite of, that is going around in the wrong direction. Which is probably why I was doing negative angle here, but if this is supposed to be a clockwise rotation, and that's a positive y rotation, why are we getting negative x? Because geometry is treating that as down here, which would rotate this way going clockwise. So we're having a problem with combinations of flip and rotate here. So flipping the coordinate system kind of flips all your rotations too, which might explain we're flipping Y and we're doing a lot of negative rotates. Some of this comes down to just what do you want to work in. So we can set things up for clockwise or counterclockwise. We can set things up for Y up or Y down. I guess I've had a certain attraction to the sort of mathematical coordinate system here. The flipped rotations. Oh, that effectively makes them counterclockwise? I did this in screen space, which is Y down. Well, I was doing negative angle here before. That gives a focus that was negative, and then we had to negative it again out. So does that mean we actually want to do a negative here? That gets you back. We can focus on them. The relative position is correct. Poseidon's still messed up. And we're treating this as a feature of let's see, so we're trying to take this vector, rotate it that way. I wonder if there's an alternate form of rotate that would do clockwise rotation in that coordinate system. Well, the thing we had was basically X flip, right? Oh man, I use geometry rotate all over the place. A lot of times with negative values. Alright, see, that's a straight up angle, that's a straight up angle. There's a bunch of negatives. There's a God angle. Lay out basic connectors. Oh, this is directly this angle. Oh, you know what? That's actually correct. These are all rotated now. So this is the thing we just looked up. This is the x coordinate, basically. Okay, that has some ripple effects. Strangely enough, it hasn't moved this at all, even though we're doing a geometry rotate. So I wonder if it's actually this? Okay, that has some other ripple effects. Those angles are still opposite, so that makes sense. But I actually have to flip the sine and cos operations? Oh, that doesn't make sense. The issue was that our x sign was different. Or do I just negate the angle inside of here, which seems... I guess that would take it negatives out of everywhere else. I just say, hey, we want to rotate the other way. It'd take a while to track them all down. It just feels weird doing all the negative rotations. Oh, how did I miss? Oh, because I was only in Boon chart. We used a lot of it in here. Now, yeah, this goes into how we prepared these angles. And that's going to duplicate in SVG. And then we have the problem that, well, I mean, this is just use it appropriately, but it actually flips depending on the coordinate system we're in. Huh. That's supposed to be in front, but it actually gets darkened. So what's the issue here? Okay, there's that. We did record the angle here, and maybe we use that elsewhere. We passed it directly to lay out basic boons. So we want a clockwise rotation in a geometrical coordinate system. You know what? Actually, come to think of it, when we looked up the one thing that seemed to be doing a more pure geometric version, it was going counterclockwise. So that's an aspect of the coordinate system itself. This almost makes me want to start tagging points as being in different coordinate systems, and then you could use that to have rotations go a certain way. So we were doing negative angle. We could also apply the negative there. Let's see, that's the focus. Oh, and what we need to do with this is figure out how we make it follow the thing we want to follow. Like if I say look at this point, I want to look at that point. So this would come back to, we want angle to be negative. Because our rotation system in y up is counterclockwise, we want to go clockwise around. That affects A, that affects this. That affects this stuff. But now we might need to think about how we're storing rotation. Okay, so that's facing right, that's over there. We cannot focus. Okay, we can focus. No, but you're flipped again. No, you're not flipped. You're just off by 1. Does this mean we have to give it an initial rotation of 0.39? Having messed with some stuff? That's going to be like a tau. No. Negative tau divided by 16. Okay. So that's a is that a counterclockwise rotation of the camera? So we think about that. Does this fix anything for us? I don't know that it's actually going to fix anything for us. Kind of shuffled some stuff around, but we're still subtracting our rotation. Yeah. It wasn't focus on, it was focus follow. So chart metrics for the model rotation. And we focus view on that rotation. But before, we were always, when we did that, looking at the north one. And maybe it only worked because it was exactly 0. So focus view, I think, just passes rotation through. Well, maybe view uses... We're printing the rotation, that's it. You actually don't get the rotation. It's all built into chart metrics. So here's the weird thing. It works for all these things. But when we just put a rotation value in there, it doesn't. All right. So the native position is basically that. We've applied a positive rotation value, which we're now conceiving is probably counterclockwise rotation of the camera because it goes into a transform. Okay. And then as we continue to increment, that's going to push us around there. But we wanted to, and to an extent that has worked, to focus on a particular focus. Calculate metrics given that rotation. Positive pushes us off that way. Focus position of. Is this a no, it wouldn't just be, it's not like symmetric. It would be symmetrical if it was Y flip. Oh, do you know what? These actually used to be positive. That's almost slightly sad. Oh, you're positive. These are all negative. So we're actually getting a negative value when we're doing that against a positive value of rotation, which I guess is going to wrap around and around and around and around. So if we're going positive, it's going around there. All right, now that we have some confidence that we picked the right, and we're displaying the right point for the right person, Poseidon is at negative negative under that little bit of rotation. And we're saying focus view on focus position of we're not doing any transforms there. This works fine for the normal centered case. So we take the thing we passed, oh, this never has to deal with XY, does it? Or rather with the left-right X position. Does this even do anything? Actually, you'd probably expect that to have an immediate effect. Yeah. So even affects that. And that's for a focus on 0, 0. So you're at about negative 0.1, negative 0.25-ish. And that is indeed the wrong point. And at this time, that could be a flip. What? Oh, no. I put in the wrong value. So that seems fine. Why is that fine? So where is focus follow? I was setting you up to zoom to there. What does default view? Wasn't that? Your adjacent distance, but you're 1. Oh yeah, because adjacent distance is a factor that's there or about the radius of that. Of course, we're not calling this. No, that's right. Okay, maybe we're not counter-rotating. Maybe there's a feedback effect here where our center keeps changing. Okay, 0, 0, that's fine. The x kind of seems opposite. I guess we saw some of that with the rotation direction being wrong. Or flipped. But why is this causing us trouble focusing on this point? So we're setting rotation or animation. We're calculating metrics based on that. And we're saying that is the value we're going to use. We're not seeing any flip-floppy behavior. So that doesn't seem like it's a reasonable explanation. There's a little bit of hitching to it. And maybe animating this is a little bit too much. We're certainly not doing anything that's terribly optimized right now. Ooh, I think I've also got some drift between my canvas center and my screen offset center. That's a little bit weird. Oh, I guess if it's going off screen. But those used to line up nice. And that in of it, actually, that in of itself could be a problem. Did I stop displaying the Canvas offset. No, I didn't. Uh-oh, what'd we do? I added a scale factor to it. When does that show up? Okay, so there's you. Yeah, there's no way that's the right. Okay, completely invisible. Under some rotations, it was visible. Why do we need an arbitrary weird rotation to get to it? Oh. These are all negative rotations, and those are positive rotations. What about under Hermes? No. So there you are. And right around a quarter turn, it lined up. What did I do that completely broke a super basic thing? And that's a positive rotation too. Let's, just to make sure there's no confusion. Can I take 0? Okay, yeah. Nowhere to be seen. Maybe, is it actually, well, this is a positive point. $280.48. Did something change? Oh, we messed with the size of it, but we were seeing it sometimes in the rotated version. And size is 1, so that should be 1 divided by 1. Oh. I had to do this for the interior ones. So now negative is off the top of the screen. So you're flipping to turn a point into a screen point. This thing is kind of doing that canvas translation stuff. Display point, model offset, display guide metrics dot center. So guide metrics dot center is in y positive. Offset is not. So we have this weird thing where we have to flip the offset. Or we take the flip out of U and put it into where we pass the point in. Okay, so that's back there. Okay, well, that's setting that point. So that's kind of going negative as we go off. That still doesn't explain why we appear to have an X flip. Oh, maybe is offset different from how this is displayed? Well, we're doing a focus font, right? I've just never had to focus left, right before. Geometry.add, geometry.scale, geometry.zoom, geometry.add. All right, so rotate is doing that. So really we want to do this in like calculate metrics, model.rotation. And if the other focus god did it, that should do it. But focus on, did you have it? No, you didn't have that extra calculate. Yep. Subscriptions. Okay, so we run a few times. This looks like one series. So our center, 1, negative 2.5. I agree that's where it's currently displayed. I don't know why. Okay, so this is what we were used to as our initial center value. So offsetting that by origin makes it more negative. It feels like I'm doing negatives on those. I should be doing the flip somewhere. Oh, that would kind of come out in this, or maybe not. Okay, so the chart diameter, we're still massively negative. We have no zoom factor right now. The chart center, why do we have a negative y for chart center? Well, this is after applying chart center, not the chart center itself is negative. We're using it as an offset, so that is all kinds of negative. Why would we want to flip x coordinate? So it is negative, but it also, I mean, y is negative. Oh, maybe I need the negative of the entire thing, and the y is getting taken care of by y flip somehow? What are we telling ourselves here? That, well, this is transformed. It's initially down here. Oh, so the first pass through here is at rotation 0? Hmm. I mean, we've got to pick a default rotation, right? Oh. We reversed this, didn't we? And default view gets called eventually. Yeah, kind of did. But it was duplicated in two places. What? Oh, it's actually this. Okay, so the initial startup value is okay, but that initial value wouldn't explain it being weird under rotation. I don't think. Yeah, what are we even focusing on now? We're focusing on the other side of the chart. Shouldn't center be around here? Is there like just some continuous feedback effect going on? Actually, no, because of this, it probably is over a little bit. Okay, so that doesn't completely explain it either. It's like we can calculate it right once. Oh, maybe that's not center. Um, I'm a little bit done with this one. And you need just the width and the height. Okay, yeah. Okay, so this is wrong. Because it's treating this as the center point. So negative vector in that space. The origin translation feels pretty weird. And yet it's been working so far. Granted, always for x0. Wait, don't we have... Screen to chart and chart to screen. No, we've kind of implicitly had that, haven't we? Now, you don't deal with that 0.5, 0.5 at all. Now, this is just chart to screen. It doesn't not necessarily going to tell me what to make my offset. Let's say infer something from the point we get and then fix it so that it ends up in the center. Well, I never quite did the inversion of this. Well, it's going to involve some chart diameter. We know that. Oh, this looks kind of familiar, doesn't it? Actually, if it's a view center, it's going to kind of involve a little bit of this. It's just that would be kind of on the other side of there. Oh, the idea was to wash out this thing's center. And then flip it over to this one. But we're trying to put you in a corner. Now it's actually drawing in the upper left. So is this, we need to flip this and then add? Because I only had to deal with Y before. I don't have flip here. Because at some point we're translating this to a screen offset. Well, that worked smashingly. So center is negative, negative. We flip it, we get a positive. So that's down. Origin translation gives us a point somewhere in like unit square. If indeed that's appropriate. So this left our Y. Yeah, everything is just way the heck off. Yeah, that sure feels like negative was appropriate. No, I guess we flipped two things at once. So that does in fact feel like a Y flip. We still haven't figured out why our X. Why the heck? Maybe the entire thing should be negative, but we also need to. Why do we need an X flip? Is this Y flip plus rotation direction somewhere? Should this be more of like origin minus the point? Point with flipped y? Seems a little weird. Actually, was this already commented out? Okay, and then if we didn't have that up, then centering would be fine. I guess the size was defined here. Someplace we stopped passing here. The size. Might actually be nice to start at Poseidon 0, so you can see what an ordinary one looks like before it starts deforming. So it kind of looks like that's trying to maintain its original orientation in ways that doesn't make sense under rotation. I wonder if that actually means that this is a backwards rotation thing. Or if it doesn't behave well under rotation transformations. All right, well, that was enough of a trial. Oh, you see, I added that. That was probably an experimental thing. Well, that's only going to affect the very first point, I guess. Well, it's the first point of each curve, which how is that not even making a difference? This feels like the angle's getting weirded out. Yeah, actually, that feels like it was keeping so this would normally be a left-right angle. Like the angles are staying constant. and not reacting to the overall rotation of the object, which might mean something with how paths are interpreted are not, don't have transforms applied. Well, we know it doesn't work under rotation. We just don't know why. So I think I ended up doing most of the rest of these. Well, the elliptic arcs are going to be kind of under path, but they're not multi-point paths like this. Hey, Quirky. Yes, I only do this kind of thing for boundaries. Oh, you've actually got some shakiness going on there. It's interesting. I wonder if, I'm kind of accumulating rotation. I haven't thought about that. I'm not making very good progress on this so far. So if I'm feeling good, I might want to tackle it again. I would suspect that it doesn't like the rotations. Let's see, where is Hades Boons? Rotate. We don't have an easy floating point mod, do we? This is Elm. Maybe I should just make that a function. Could maybe go in geometry. Oh, mod angle. Already made it. All right, hopefully I'll take care of the flickering. So where I do that right now, I don't account for the display rotation at all. I didn't think I'd have to. Context.rotate. Yeah, this isn't specific enough to those paths. All right. So can we actually find the path documentation here? Rectangles, text, line styles, text styles, fill and stroke styles, shadows, paths. We're actually using Bezier for most of this. Which actually, that puts the math on me. It is an ability. So up, okay, that's the icon. Yeah. So like Ares gives you a delayed damage doom effect, or he does these blade rift things that are sort of like damage over time in an area. And well, I've got an animation running right now, but you get these complicated networks of interdependencies that I'm trying to make a bit more understandable. Let's see if we can shut this off for a moment. Shut down this madness, canvas. Okay, I've still got some points on here. Where are we doing that? That's a multi-line thing. Maybe we should make it its own function. So you can go in and... Oh, I still have the screen center on, but... and see, well, gee, if I do this, then that's going to make this, that's going to make these things available. It's going to satisfy the prerequisites for these duos, which you can kind of follow the lines back over here and see that, okay, now we can get to that one. And we also have the alternate method of doing something a little bit more like the in-game. So yeah, now this makes it a little bit easier to follow some of the connections and dependencies, but it's still like really awkward to use when you're actually playing. So I might see if there's any way I can get some information out of the game to help with that. I want these to get a little bit smaller when they zoom up. It's also showing things that have become impossible because you can no longer get one of their prerequisites. And I still got to debug the log somewhere. This is, oh, in the view. Let's see, have I? Yeah, you're unavailable, so that's done and gone. And you were unavailable because we did one of those. However, I was looking at lines. Let's see, so I guess I don't actually need those points right now. And I'm trying to figure out why these things are deforming. So it might be that it's trying to do those as absolute angles, not as rotation relative angles. I think we're still going through my translations, which it should... as we're looking at Beiser curves. Are these rotation relative? Oh. Move to a path only thing? Begin path, Beiser curve 2. Let's see, so we need some framing stuff. So we don't need you, we don't need you, we don't need you, we don't need you. Oh. I guess the library is inserting that. So we still have an SVG chilling here. Might want to flip that around. Yeah. Oh, right. There's an index file, so we can't. Canvas. Ah. Well, we have an idea, it's not that. Okay. Okay, this might have been rotating the other way. Okay. Oh, maybe that was actually too much. And it's okay, so that's falling off of the local canvas here, which they have not resized at all. So these don't seem to be particularly... Well, maybe that's squishing a bit? Maybe not. That doesn't seem to be having particular problems with rotation. I guess it's not rotation and scaling. So if we do debug outs, it's going to get super, super messy. What do we actually want to... What do we actually want to look at here? Oh, you know, I removed the code I had here that just did straight lines. Well, I was kind of fudging up which points to use, so that's... That's probably not useful. So we are doing some rotates here. I guess 0 and 180 wouldn't matter for sines, but I tried flipping the sines and we had issues. I'm assuming flipping that would have issues. But that's basically what we're doing. Yeah, that... So they're backwards, but they're not warping. Which tells me that the points here are in a particular rotation and the formula for that particular rotation is wrong. So the winding is always clockwise. Now I guess this could be wrong in its own way, but it's not correct relative to the path. So start angle, work angle, end angle. Huh. So doing tau minus gives us a constant thing. Oh, so maybe it's this? We did tau minus this same thing. But that's not going sideways at all. I guess I should keep this, whoops, as a reference. Yeah, the endpoints still seem a little messed up. Um, It's the way we're doing this. Although it was perfectly fine in the other version. Do I even want to mess with this? I don't know. I'm uncertain how doing this style of thing would, if it would do this thing or if it would do this entire expression. I might want to evaluate this at... So there's definitely some full rotations there. But 10 minus that would be that, so this might be better evaluated at a couple of certain angles. Now, actually, we might still have our very default rotation in here. Ooh, that's still a lot of things. I need something to identify a pass here. I don't know if it'll be before or after, but it'll be something. Okay, so that's the 1, 2, 3. Yeah, okay. Okay, we did not evaluate. Okay, so we're using model dot rotation. Okay, we sort of allowed for this to change. Now, I guess, okay, so that's actually, Poseidon he's flipped, but he is there. So we kind of actually want that. Does that, okay, that is actually what we draw with. So his default view, well, it comes down to window size. Okay, Poseidon up. I guess we'd even do like focus on Poseidon, but the angle is what we care about. So the three things we get, and it'd be a neat, well, okay, so 3.14, 3.14, that makes sense. We've got 2 half circles and 1/4 circle. These are all positive rotations. What does this flow through? So we're actually getting you are negative rotations. So I don't know why the tau minus was messing with that, but I suspect that it doesn't like negative rotations, because that would just turn it into a big positive rotation. Now this might actually have been from me flipping rotation directions, because it does seem odd that it would be doing that. Can I actually break into these segments? Well, I could end up looking at the data. Maybe I could break into these segments? I could turn it into segments. Or could I? That's from selection. Actually, we might not have this operation, the inverse of this operation. All right, so is this just... It's from angle to angle. We've got start angle and end angle, which I guess we could fix it up here. Well, it could also be that the math is getting messed up here. Oh, geometry. Which is not what, we're not showing the initial values here. And then, okay, so we have all this spam. Actually, I never did look at this under other rotations. Okay, so that is not the explanation. It is something in the actual math falling out of the negatives, maybe? So what kind of weirdness do we get? I mean, even at 90-degree angles, it's a little weird. Okay, yeah, that's pretty weird. -3 to 0, okay, under 80 degrees. Pi, half tau, and then we've got a different one. So what the heck is happening here? The from to, I wonder, are these being reordered? Or are the actual values being changed? So we've got a negative pi to 0. We've got a negative 4.7 to a negative pi. We've got a, it's like a half pi. And then if we put this back, okay, so these are being transformed by the rotation. When are we doing that? I must have found that necessary at some point. Map boundary. Okay, yeah, we're not doing winding sensitive adjustments. Is that it? So the weird thing is if we invert the winding, it was constant and not screwy, but of course it was backwards. Oh, did we just transform all of these points? So that might be the issue, is that for most of these lines, we just transform the endpoints. And then we have the constant screen space to show the icon locations at. Or that's definitely what you would want you do for the points, because you need to be able to correlate those with other things. So we're messing with these angles. We didn't want to change anything. So I'm assuming that this causes its own little bits of chaos. Well, obviously not under there. Yeah, so this was an attempt to fix it. Well, that's not going to help. Okay, so what I'm getting out of this is that the way we adjust this has to depend on the winding, because with the other winding, this plus was correct. So I can do two cases. I guess I could work out what this is. All right. Canvas, and this will actually affect SVG as well. So that's nice. So we said we were working on the counterclockwise case. The counterclockwise case we want to be the negative. Or, wait. Boon chart, okay, this is plus. Everybody got an A up there. Oops. Too many splits. This is the one we need to change. This is negative God angle. Ah, you're a layout thing. It's the only place we need this right now. Oh wait, counterclockwise. Maybe we did have it. Nope. So is this just backwards? Because I'd swear when we just inverted it, everything was fine. I don't know why it's so hitchy. I mean, I guess maybe we're just like right on the edge of what we can do frame rate wise. And one thing about animation frame is you can't control the frame rate, so it's going to maybe try to go as fast as it can. Well, I figured if I was going to go beyond JavaScript, you have things like TypeScript, which are just, well, which once you add a compile step, you no longer have the directness between, what you write and what you debug. And I figure if I'm going to add a compile step, I might as well do something a bit more interesting. And Elm is a relatively small language, so it doesn't have too many dark corners for things to hide in. It feels like it can get into a little bit of boilerplate type stuff sometimes, but you can then understand everything that's going on. Now, there's a few weird things in the type system, but you don't need to worry about them too often. It's relatively rare that you get those Those libraries, and they end up having nice APIs and I think reasonable error messages, because that's one of the goals. You can usually tell what's going on. All right, that seems to be holding up pretty well. All right, so this might be a useful thing to hang on to as a debugging tool. What else we've been doing? We've been putting screen center on. Rotation shouldn't be a issue anymore. We want our icons back. All right, and we shouldn't have any screenness with you. I actually want to do some more display work on, like, I think these things should probably be like more of a transparent effect than the full thing. If indeed we find that we can make it look good, because right now it really sticks out. But that is our transform issue. Oh, and we don't need that test file anymore. There's probably some other things I need to clean up at some point too. Is that a thing we can easily do? I might be using the same coloring for like everything. Okay, so you got a color. Actually, I think I missed it initially, but there is a separate opacity setting. What did I import you as? Settings not advanced. Okay, so that blocks out the other lines less. It's not as obvious that it's on, but... And maybe we could try, well, we actually got kind of two of these up here, which is awkward. And like a lot of these are going to activate both of them. Let's see. So it is. It might just be this for the duo. Oh no, and this duo. But that's an ambiguous line, so that could use some tweaking too. All right, well, that's all design stuff. Let's see. So that's a small tweak. We could try doing that. This is where I might want to actually look at like color tagging these, so you could actually have the lines distinguished by different, slightly different shades or something. That would be a lot of data work. The other thing, this is actually correlates directly with the icon. So at some point I might want to look up doing the icons, like especially if you zoom out. Although I need to cap. So I'm gonna turn that one off. Cap the. There's very little point to go past here. There might be a point to like pan it over a little bit if you wanted to zoom into something on this side. But I don't really know if there's any utility to zooming out past there. Except, oh, hey, look, we could turn it into just the God icons and maybe if you wanted to see the text disappear, so you could get a bigger picture of the duos or something. I mean, well, it's lunchtime. So that's what I'm usually on. Let me see if I can find anything else to recommend. This might be a thing that it's like this project just gone on and on and on and on. So if I feel up to it, something I sometimes work on in the evenings. Otherwise, Saturday mornings are the other kind of scheduled day. But thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribers. Let's see, that stream might be over. Yeah, that stream's over. Oh, let's see, do I have any Hades up right now? That doesn't actually look like Hades. No, not at the moment. All right. Well, I see somebody doing game dev. This is like stuff around a game. Here, one break. Well, it's still on a screen, so it can't be a long break. If you're looking for someplace cool to hang out, Flip Switch X is doing so. This is a parody puzzle platformer. Oh, and he's back. So that's someplace cool to hang out. Thanks for hanging out with me. Goodbye until next time.